Hey there everybody, Joe here again. Today I'm going to work on inking my digital art that I've created over the last couple of days. Started with pencil sketches earlier in the week where they're just really very rough. Yesterday I refined the sketch, and so today I'm going to be inking the sketch. So the first thing I've done is I pulled up my file. I had everything from yesterday. I put it all in one folder I call it the reference folder. Now, what I normally would have done is I would have changed, if you look over here on the left, I would have changed the opacity in this layer and just dropped it back. But this morning, I was playing around with some alternate ideas, and if you've got Photoshop, you can do something which is you can add in a layer, and I add in a Hue and Saturation Layer. And so what's interesting about this is you can click on this little button here on the right called Colorize. And what that's going to do, as you can see, is it's going to make it so that it has a little bit of a reddish tint. And then you can lighten it up. So that now, when I ink, there should be a lot more contrast between the black and this kind of pinkish color. So, before I get started, I need to take off my glasses because of screen distance. So, let's just get started here. Okay, I'm going to go, the tool that I use for inking is the pencil tool. And the reason I use it is because there isn't any, here, I'll show you a line here. So the reason I use it is, first of all, you have to be in the right layer. So we got to make a new layer. Let's call it ink. And so here's what we do. So we got a little bit of a line, so you can see this line here. I'll make it a little jiggity-jaggedy. Bunch of stuff here. Now, if I use the brush tool and a very similar line, I'll put it really close so you can see. But what happens is see how this is basically this is just black and white, and then this line has different shades of gray and opacity built into it. So even if I turned off the part that the transfer that lets me have it be a real thinned outline, you don't get it to be this solid thing. So let's just select all and delete everything on that layer. I go up to my pencil tool, which I've created my own nib, but I think for this I'm going to use my one I call the 80 inker. But the only difference is the size. So as I go out here, I notice that the 80 is gigantic, and what that leads me to believe is I have not set up my image size to be appropriate for what I want. So right now, currently, the resolution is set up at 72. Now, the minimum thing that you really need is 300. So let's make sure that the pixels, so you can see how the pixels change. So, if I was to say 72, you see how it's not even basically, a resolution that even really looks too good on your screen. 300 is kind of the bare minimum that you'd want. I tend to work in like 900. For some of the stuff that I do for illustration work, I work at 1200, but then it's only going to be black and white for that. So this I want to have some color. So I'm thinking about file sizes too. If you look up at the top with Photoshop, the image size, it'll show you how big it jumps. So like if I go 600, see how it went from 68 to 274. But if I did 1200, the thing is it's a gigabyte file, so we don't want to do that. Let's go with 600. I think that should be pretty good for this. And then also now, so see what happened is it kind of expanded out. See how now the 80 is much more of a line, that the line weight is much similar to what I was thinking about in the initial pencil sketches. So we'll stick with the 80. And then it's just basically making sure you're in your ink layer above everything, and let's just get started. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. Now, what's nice is it used to be that you'd have to be up at 100%, but my Intuos tablet has increased to a point now where you can work at less and then have yourself be still get a pretty smooth line. Okay, let's do this up here. And some of these lines, they are straight, but I kind of want them to be a little jiggity-jaggedy because I feel like that gives a little bit of life and a little bit of like there's a little bit of a variation in the line. Down here I try and push harder and give myself a little bit of a thicker line at the bottoms of things so that I get a better thick thin. Let's work back up. Now, and I usually start my lines a little bit beyond where they were, because as you can see, as I undo a lot, sometimes you end up with this like a weird edge that I don't necessarily want. Okay, there's that. I'm gonna leave the lettering till the end because I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep it as the font or if I'm gonna ink over it. So here's where I kind of go through my little, let's see what we want to add to the artwork that isn't necessarily part of the. Let's put a little thorn over here too. That isn't part of the inking necessarily. So here's one. I'm going to change where it is just because at this point I think it's a little too close to that edge there. Not drawing too much of how it's connected in, but let's see here. Cover up those lines. Put some stuff inside here. So a lot of this, at least for me, the inking is kind of the final stage of the artwork where I get to make the semi-final decisions, right? Some of these things, and because I've drawn them a few times, drawn like tentacles and this, I'm looking for this kind of, in my head I'm imagining elephant skin and all sorts of different things here, or warts, and I want to keep this edge a little bit uneven because I know I'm going to be coming back and forth with some of the different textures. Adding in wrinkles. Thick, a little bit thick thin. There. Try and start at the tops of these like thorns or claws or whatever they are. Give them a little bits of depth. Thickness here, and all of these inner parts I'll do at the end. I also tend to when things are behind, I add in extra thick shadow, thick line between stuff. Let's kind of come through here, down. Okay, today, like yesterday, I put up pretty long video to start, and I think I'll do that again today, so if you're watching this, but I'm also going to take the time and kind of give myself a little bit of a speed, basically so that you can see what happens, but not maybe you don't want to necessarily watch however long this takes, maybe 40 minutes, hour, longer. Through. Let's get my little, I don't know what these are. Talons, I guess. Talons. Spiky bits. Put that thick shadow back here. Some of these curves I want to follow the curve of the shape. Here's another eyeball. Some wrinkles. Some of these things I'll go back and kind of clean up a little bit as I get closer. Kind of know where that edge comes through. Up. Get that thicker shadow here. Get that little bit of a blobbiness. Clean things up. Okay, I also tend to crosshatch towards the end. So right now, like I said, I'm working at 50%. When the first book I illustrated, I had to actually work at 100% for the whole drawing. And then you have to zoom out, make sure you get your curves a little, you're following your curve correctly. Okay, this line, let's get this. I know kind of what's up in front, but let's get a little thinner. And here. These are following the curve of that inner shape, right? Because this comes up. Think of this kind of as a knuckle. And one of the nice things about tentacles is they don't have to be perfect, right? There's kind of a a natural waviness that you almost kind of want. Keep that thin. This line. I want to keep the line that kind of defines the iris a little thin. Here. Hit the G tool. So I got my paint bucket. Fill it up. Some more lines here. Defining some of these edges, but most of the detail I'll put in at the end. Let's see here. Just because that way I can kind of that's when I like to give myself a little bit of a break. Okay, this line here, let's get this. Put a little work there because I think it needs it. Maybe one here too. Have the little edge change. Come around. Let's get this eyeball here. Like I said, I like to keep those iris things. And I think it's at least where I've drawn it. Let's put it a little bit more towards the center. Fill it in. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I want to keep this bottom edge as a line. So let's make this. I'm gonna push down hard. Make sure I line it up. Where it wants to go. Okay, that's probably too far, but that's cool because now I can use my E key and let's erase it out. And right now I've got my eraser set to hit the tab, pencil mode up here in the upper left, so that I end up with the same kind of effect. So I don't have any kind of fuzzy lines, fuzzy edges. This is going to be a loop. Let's put these in first. Tops of those in. It's going to be behind. Right. Okay. Just going to go through this other tentacle. I know I've got a lot of texture in this edge, in these edges, where the teeth are. Some of these talons or spiky bits, put them in things. This around. Okay, let's kind of come up around here. Let's give this other eye a little once over. how this guy fits into the rest of the shape. One of the things about zooming in and zooming out, sometimes can I draw a circle? Sometimes no. This guy's a little off too, so let's That's a little wonky, but that's okay. Let's get these curves going. A couple things over here. Be aware of like where these edges come through. Give this an extra little bit of a shadow here so it pops better. Same over here. I want it to follow those curves. Okay. Let's give this a little come back through. Back and forth. A lot of these things I'll change as I finalize the details. But I want to have some of these shadows. I'll zoom out here in a second here. So I do Control-0 to zoom out. That'll fill the page. That's looking pretty good. Let's do a save. Save early, save often. Keep yourself feeling good. Oh, so hit the zoom. Let's zoom in. I'm going to hit Tab, and then actually let's use the Navigator Palette. That sometimes is a little bit easier. So I've been working at 50%. The Navigator Palette's nice because you can kind of drag around where you want to be. So let's see how it's coming up from the bottom. So might as well keep coming up from the bottom. All right, right here I have to decide. I've got the line here, but I've got a couple things that come over. So I think if I don't know. Let's see. I think if I play around with that edge, what's forward, what's behind, I think coming over it might be kind of interesting. So let's see here. Okay. Now we got to get this big mouth here. Let's give him some really kind of warpy lip. Think about cracked lips. How they texture. I've kept these as mostly kind of humanish teeth. So let's give them. I think that's good. I think I want to add a little bit of anthropomorphism to this guy. So I'm not drawing the bottoms yet because I want to play around with where that gum line is. Over the top, back around, some other teeth in here. So these are going to come down. A little bit of a receding gum line. Black is in here. I'm going to use my G tool. Fill these in. Oops, I just tapped on it. Alright. And then this is going to get filled in here. I think this one too. Yeah. Alright. So like I said, the detail work's going to come in shortly. Once I finish up through big choppers. Have to be totally straight. You ever had braces? Put that back in. A little more. right, upper lip. I think there. So I think this guy's gonna definitely says keep being weird. Now with the mouth itself, undo, Control Z. I don't know if I want to keep it all black. Let's see. Yeah, let's keep it dark. Let's give it a good inset. These things. Real crazy edge. Well, I didn't have to decide. Once I have it in place, we'll decide whether we need to change anything or not. There might be details we add. Maybe I take them away if I don't like them. These are working out. The choices you make as you go. I guess that's one of the huge benefits of digital art, is that undo key and multiple layers, right? Because you can make these changes as you go. Erase things out, put things back behind. So today we'll finish the inking up. And whenever I refer to inking as inking digitally, at least I'm always thinking about the quotes, because I mean, really technically there's no ink involved. My hands are clean, which is nice. Don't have to worry about spillage. The only thing you do have to worry about, and I'll do right now, is Control S, save early, save often, because that's the only thing that can really come and end up biting you in the behind, is having a save problem or having something glitch out on you. It's better than it used to be. I mean, I think they've got a lot of things better. In terms of, like, there's internal saves and things that can happen, but I've had it happen even recently where I've lost work because I was really hyper focused on something, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, glitches out, something glitched, and lose an hour or a half hour worth of work. But you can see, like, from how long this takes, half hour could be quite a bit, right? So let's give this guy this crazy tongue. Let's see, how do I want, yeah, let's go, I think that was pretty good. I push down more as I get towards the bottom edge. Give me that shadow. Let's see, how do I want this to curve? Let's go like this. There we go. Does that look pretty good? Follow through on that edge. Maybe come through here like this. He's in. That's pretty good. Let's get these teeth. That's that edge here. Let's go. This guy has less good teeth than his buddy. Looking into the back of the mouth here. Up. Give him a little bit more gum. Not too far out. Yeah, I don't like how this goes. Let's Control Z out of it. And let's fix up this teeth. Like I said, that's one of the nice things about digital, kind of correct your mistakes a little bit. Let's give him some molars. There. Piece. That's there. Okay, so for his teeth, since I'm going to be filling this in, I want to make sure that these things aren't. Let's see, do I want to do G completely fill this in? No. So I want to make sure I have some zones where this is the black in the background. Right? What the shape is. Let's look at that. That's definitely darkest. But I think behind those teeth I want to be dark too. So let's have this come up. This is the filling point. Yeah, I think that's better. Let's give him some gum. Some gummies. Alright, I think I'm connected. So let's zoom out again. Control 0, Control S. Hands falling asleep a little bit from holding it in a weird position. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. Let's we can hide this. Let's hide the reference layer. You can see how there's going to be a lot of detail that comes back in. But with the detail, we can be a little bit further out, and I will probably shrink the size of my tool a little bit. All right, we want to get this. Shadow here. I want this to be thicker there. I think I want to have a high contrast look to this too. So let's put in some of these shapes. Let's zoom in on this bottom corner. Start here. That's kind of the most weird stuff going on. I want to follow these curves. Right. And I am gonna, you know what? I am gonna keep it as keep the 80 and just work thinner for my details. But I think that'll give me the best fill in what's underneath. Excuse me. I think this shapes here. Texture on these talon things. Probably have to sneeze. So I think I caught myself. Now my eyes are tearing up. Working in a basement. Working and living in a basement, sometimes you get some less than adequate air quality. So, and I'm also, my only window here is kind of right up against the alley. I don't know if some of these bubbles I don't like. Let's give them some. Come through with some weird texture back and forth here. I think this side of his head is going to be the darkest, like it's in shadow, right? Decisions you can make as you go. Concerned mostly with the texture right now. There's some things we can hear the garbage trucks going past the big garbage day. Let's see here. Come down through here. Might have to fill a lot of this in. Let's see here. Back. much. Too much. Undo it. And I'm looking through and see. Hopefully we can get back further enough, fast enough, farther enough. Nope, that's it. Let's just do a save real quick. And I want to do is let's come up through here. I want some of that, some of this to look like it's got stuff, but I don't want it to be too filled in. So I kind of wanna. I guess that's the one thing about doing when you're showing a demo and you're making fixes and changes on the fly. But I want you guys to know that these are things you can do. These are things that, you know, your decisions, don't let yourself get locked up and not doing something because you're worried about, okay, well, it's not perfect. Go for it. Just, you know, lean in. Come through. Let's see. I think some of these some of these shapes I will probably do at the color stage too. Your blacks are your darkest colors, or lack of color, shadow. Painting, oh, this is gonna be weird. I like to avoid blacks when I can. I tend to use a dark purple, even for stuff that's inked. These details on this back side of this. Let's just get that texture. So it's sort of a crosshatch, but it's more of a, you know, a dot pattern. I think some of these things we can kind of come through here. Through detail work, I guess this is going to be what takes the longest amount of time. See how long this goes. Let me know if it's worth putting these like whole, you know, warts and all long videos. For me, I know that it's going to be kind of myself, I should say. When I'm watching a video, if it's long, I tend to either avoid it or through there. Okay, let's get this whole guy here. Just because I don't know, maybe it's just because I ramble. But I hope you're all having fun. I am. Today's gonna be a great day. One of the things I say to myself every day, every morning. Today's going to be a great day. And then I get to find the things that make it great. It might be, you know, maybe it's a rough day. Might have, you know, rough things going on. It might be horrible events in the world or horrible events in my life. But, you know, I woke up this morning. Start things on a positive note, because you might as well, right? Might as well start things positive. What if you got some issues down the road? You're starting from a much better position to handle them, much better position to get through the day. But, you know, life's going to have terrible things, and you might as well try and go, you know, gotta start the day on a nice note. Sometimes it's interesting to feel guilty when you're sharing something that you're like really excited about, and then because of the way our news cycles are, we get such negativity, it's hard to overcome. But we can, and we will. Some of these little extra pieces, and some more little bubbly wrinkle things here. Kind of following the edge of those curves. Get a little bit more of a shadow in between these guys. Zoom out. Yeah, that's not too bad. I think I want to have a little bit more dark in this zone here. Zoom out a little bit here. A little darker here so that it kind of plays along with how that shape is on the bottom. Alright. Okay. Now this guy has a little bit less texture. I think it's the same guy, but some wrinkles here, some extra. Go back and forth. Like that curve here. Now what's on his that shadow there? Some of these wrinkles in. Some of these shadowy zones. Behind, so I want those shadows to be there, but I want this to look like he's got a little bit less detail, but it's important. I'm trying to keep the zones that are in between. Put some of these circles around here, little warts. Kind of like some of these striations through here. Fill in some of those smaller pieces. Thinner lines here. Okay, this is wood, so let's kind of give it a little bit of a wood texture here. Through here. Alright. Then you just have to remember you did that on the top. Through. Where are we at? Oh, we're at 66.7%. I think that's of the zoom in, I should say. That's a kind of one of the zones where I tend to sit the most with this Intuos setup. Like I said, when I had my original Intuos, I had to really zoom in a lot. Because of how much level of pressure sensitivity, the level of detail that the tablet would register. So this is going to be some darks here. Maybe this whole thing is going to be, yeah, because it's behind. Right? upper shape. Let's fill that in. This there. Put that there. Thought I hit my hand tool. Let's go here. We want this to be that same kind of look. So I'm going to try and follow the thick thin. Dark back. I'll make it a dark color. There. It's too dark. Control Z out of it. Control S, give it a little save. Alright, last call. Put these things, these lines here. Through little shapes here. Let's get some extra circles. Follow those. Follow the curves. Look at this as like if you were drawing a slinky. Put these other things in here. I'll change these out. Definitely going to add in a thick shadow for this stuff. One more spike back here. Actually, let's use my eraser tool to undo a couple of these because I think it'll be easier with this. Let's do the eraser and let's make this spike come through. So kind of switch back to B with my tool. So this is in front then. Alright. Let's texture. Zoom back one so we go back to 50%. It's not a lot, but I think it's going to give me the kind of going back and forth texture wise. And I think this is going to do it. But we will turn off the lines on the interior, and I'm probably going to take that text and leave it as as a font for this, because of time and because it looks pretty cool. And I'm pretty sure, like I said, this is a Blambot font, and well worth looking into. His fonts are really well done. Nice spacing, nice amount of extra. He's got all the extra characters. Some of the what are they called? Where you get a F and T's and some of those things that they blend together. I'm going to zoom out again. Control 0 to zoom out. Control S, and let's hide the reference layer. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. His tongues could use a little bit of texture. So let's zoom in on a tongue. Let's just decide. I think let's just do a kind of a dot pattern. It's a little bit of a pointillism. So here, just a little. We don't need much, I don't think, because a lot of this is going to be colored. Right? So shadow it back. Got an edge. Just doobly dotlet. And hide this stuff. I think this is going to work. A little bit of detail in the teeth, I think. Just a little. Let's do the top guy first. So, just because I've got those striations in the horns, so we just need that too. And like I said, sometimes when I get very quiet, it's because I'm getting into the flow. I think I need a couple of extra little extra dimension. It's too much. Just so it kind of goes. This is a tooth. I'm picturing it as, back part of his gum line. Alright. How long this took, but it's been fun. Winding up. Let's do the same thing with these guys. Choppers. Filling back there. Striations. A little bit of extra texture. This guy's back teeth. He's got a big cavity. Need some things to push. So that little bit of extra depth. Put that back there. And right. A little bit more here. Drop things back. Edge there. Alright. And I think, actually, let's see. Oh, switch back to B. Well, this is going to be darker because of the colors I use. But give myself that dark base. All right. Okay, so let's do a Control S, and the final thing is going to be for me to take that text out of the reference layer. I just click on it, and let's drag it above the ink layer, and that is it. That's it for the inking. So let's do a Control S, And at this point, I can do a thing. I forgot about this yesterday, but if in the history palette, since I haven't done anything different, I can show you what it looked like when we started. Whoa, undo. I forgot that when we started, it was in a different size, so we want to do that. So closest thing though is we can open up the reference layer and hide these other layers, so you can kind of see where we were when we started. Here we go. Hide the reference. Control S. Hey, thanks a lot, everybody. I appreciate you watching. I know sometimes this can be these kinds of real-time things can get to be a little bit of a drag. So hopefully I can do some things in the editing to alleviate that somewhat. But I'm learning, so we're having fun. Hey, if you like what you see, please be sure to give me a like. Share this with your friends if you think they'd be interested. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm always willing to do that. I think you know, the more I can help you, the more it helps me. It's one of those things that's like, what is it? The rising river raises everybody up. You know, totally feel that way. And I wish you guys much success in your inking and your penciling. I love you all. And if you can give somebody a reason to smile, you just might get to smile too. So thanks a lot, everybody. Take care, and see you tomorrow, where I'm gonna probably color this thing tomorrow. So fun stuff. All right. Bye.